Hi everyone, welcome to your instructional video for vignette number 2. This is the part 2 of the vignette. This part is an extension and builds on vignette 1 and becomes part of a comprehensive diagnostic assessment. So you can use all of the information that you use from vignette 1 in terms of the background and information of the client, all of the introductory information, the beginning diagnostic assessment that you did. But this will be one combined final paper totaling 15 pages. And so what you're going to do, though, is in the part 2 of the vignette, you're going to do a different diagnostic assessment. You're going to reassess the person using all of the potential diagnoses that we've covered up to this point of the class. You're going to look at any possible depressive disorders, bipolar disorders, psychotic disorders. You're going to look at stress-related disorders, anxiety disorders, child-related disorders, neurodevelopmental disorders. And you're going to include at least 3 references, as always, in one of them being the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 5, and you're going to include the summary part. So if you'll scroll down into the vignette rubric, you'll see that the first section from vignette 1, you're welcome to make edits if you'd like to update the information from vignette 1 based on the feedback that I've given you, but it is essentially a copy and paste of the same information: the diagnostic information, the presenting problem information, the history of the problem, the psychological history of the problem, supports, etc. And then you're going to basically start your assessment. You're over, right? You're going to cut out part 1's assessment, and you're going to do your assessment totaling and including different provisional diagnoses if applicable. If it's the same, you're welcome to do that, but you want to also include an assessment for any depressive disorders, bipolar disorders, psychotic disorders, etc., if they weren't already included in vignette 1. So as in vignette 1, you're going to identify any of the behavioral signs or symptoms. Those are the indicators that there may be criteria that are being met by a particular diagnosis. Based on those behavior manifestations, you're going to include several of the provisional diagnoses that you are considering in your differential discussion. Then in your differential discussion, you're going to identify your rationale for the several diagnoses you're considering based on the criteria from the DSM-5. And you're going to then indicate in a rule out discussion, meaning why do you or don't you give the person the particular diagnosis. And then based on that, what is your final working diagnosis? This is the diagnosis that you believe gives the most accurate and comprehensive picture of the problems this client is struggling with. And then you're going to discuss the struggles in coming up with kind of like an assessment of your own sort of diagnostic process, like what you went through, right? So discuss your struggles with using behavior manifestations as evidence. What were some of the things you thought about, right? What is your thought process for your working diagnosis and your provisional and differential diagnosis? As you were working through, how did this diagnostic assessment help you better understand the person's problems, right? So this section, right, this part of your vignette 2 is really sort of your assessment of your own diagnostic process. And then based on your diagnostic assessment, how is that going to impact your work with the client? How are you going to then use this in your work with your client? And did you come up with any transference issues as you were working with this client? For example, if you have assessed a client as having a substance use related issue and you have family members who have substance use related issues, how does that sort of work for you in terms of both your understanding of the diagnostic challenges that this client has, but also in how you feel about working with the client, including the resources and, as always, the APA formatting. I'm going to attempt to upload a sample vignette into the assignment section so that you'll be able to see a format to be able to guide you and a framework for guiding you in writing up these papers. And I will post in the announcements when I have uploaded a viable sample paper for you to use as a framework and a guide as you're writing your vignettes. So as always, if you have any problems or difficulties, please feel free to contact me through email, and I am happy to help set up a meeting and possibly chat in a Zoom format if needed. So take care and see you soon.